Reached the end of July 2024, so now it's time to rank all 5 July 2024 releases that I saw from worst to best. And if you're wondering why Deadpool and Wolverine is not on this list, if you're new here, it's because I don't review R-rated movies. And with that in mind, let's get started. Number 5, last place, Descendants Rise of Red. The continuity errors of this are just baffling to me. It tries to connect itself to the 1997 Cinderella musical by bringing back the actors to play Cinderella and Charming, but that doesn't explain how a black woman and a Filipino man are able to have a white child, Chad Charming from the first three. The stepmother is also played by a different actress than she was in the 1997 Cinderella, which further calls into question the continuity of this one. And also, we're supposed to believe that Cinderella and Charming met in high school, even though in the original movie that these actors are from, they don't meet until the ball, just like in the original story. And Ursula has a sister in this, but her name is not Morgana like it was in Little Mermaid 2. And if you're going to connect all the Disney movies, at least keep the continuity consistent. And this doesn't feel like it's doing that at all. I will say it is the best looking of the four movies. You can tell they gave this one the highest budget because it doesn't have that TV movie look. It looks like there was money put into this. It's really the only good thing I have to say about it. Plot is basically just Alice through the Looking Glass, where they use time travel to try and stop the Queen of Hearts from turning evil. And even though Uma comes back for a brief scene or two, they don't mention Harry, which is odd, because Harry was super in love with her and loyal to her, and now he's just gone. And the object they use for time travel is a pocket watch. And in the show Miraculous Ladybug, there's a rabbit superhero that also has time travel powers who uses a pocket watch. And that's very clearly influenced from Alice in Wonderland. But here it feels like they stole it from Miraculous. And at the end of this movie, it frustrates me because they do succeed in their mission. They make sure Queen of Hearts doesn't turn evil, but then they go back to the moment she attacked and set the plot into motion, and she's clearly not evil anymore. So why are the inhabitants of Wonderland not allowed to travel to Oregon? They explain they walled off Wonderland because Queen of Hearts is so crazy and dangerous, but she's not crazy and dangerous anymore, so why was Wonderland walled off? And why is Hades, the literal god of Greek hell, allowed on the island and not banished? Is Queen of Hearts really the most evil villain? There's so many plot holes and continuity errors with this one. It feels cheap and lazy, just a cash grab. Stick with the first three movies and skip this one. Number 4, Fly Me to the Moon. This is one of the most confusing movies I've seen this year, mainly by the tone and what it was trying to go for. I like the 1960s aesthetic, and the film is very pretty to look at, and the film also has an all-star cast. But unfortunately, that cast is wasted by a lousy script. I'm not really sure what this film was trying to be. Satire? Drama? It's very confusing. It's not a true story, but it's also not really a satire, and it focuses an awful lot on marketing gimmicks, so I have no idea who the audience for this is supposed to be. If this was a true story about people working behind the scenes at NASA, or if the film leaned more into this ridiculous idea that the moon landing was faked, maybe it could have worked. I don't know. I just didn't get this movie. Perhaps Apple should get out of the movie business and stick to making overpriced electronics. Number 3, Despicable Me 4. I'm someone who defends the Minions prequels and found them somewhat charming. So when I say that I didn't like this one, you know it wasn't good. The Minions do Iron Man 2 or Secret Life of Pets 2 problem, where it feels like they had too many ideas they wanted to do, and they didn't decide on just one or two of them, so they decided to use them all. There's a plot about the main villain, who is very underdeveloped. There's a plot about turning the Minions into superheroes, which they already kind of did with the mutated Minions plot, Despicable Me 2 and The Rise of Gru. There's a plot about a hairstylist wanting to get revenge on Gru's wife. There's a plotline about Gru being forced to train a little girl to be a villain. And I jumps between these plotlines so quickly that it feels like episodes of a TV show that they edited as a movie. And the humor in this movie is either more of the same or it feels derivative of other films. Gru has a baby now, and the antics and mischief the baby gets into feel ripped straight from Jack Jack from the Incredibles movies. There's a dated joke about the Honey Badger No game. This movie feels like it's trying way too hard to appeal to the kids. And the villain's motivations in this movie are so face palmingly stupid. I thought, really? That's his backstory? That's his motivation? Elements of the series were kind of interesting, but this villain is not interesting at all, and he's also only in the movie for like the first 10 minutes, and he doesn't even really play that big a role until about the last 20 minutes, so he's pretty underdeveloped anyway. If you have kids, just wait until it's available to rent for $6. It's not worth your time in the theater. Number 2, My Spy and the Eternal City. Now, Spy was just okay. It was pretty much the game plan, the pacifier, all these movies where the big tough guy has to take care of a child and has his heart changed. It's enjoyable, but safe. It's better. Dave Bautista is now the kid's guardian of the galaxy. Now, the first half of this movie was very familiar because it is so similar to Spider-Man Far From Home. School trip to Italy, villain attacks, there's world-ending stakes, the main kid has a plan to ask her crush out in Italy, just like Peter, and it's beat for beat Spider-Man Far From Home. Then the second half sort of becomes similar to Taken. Plot-wise, it's very familiar and it doesn't really do anything new with the spy genre, but it is still very fun. It's silly, but it's silly in a fun way, not in a way that's face-palmingly incompetent. And the main villain is really good. I'm not going to spoil who plays the villain because it's a huge spoiler, but I have seen this person in other things, and I've never seen them play a villain before. I was surprised by how this person pulled it off. It's very typical spy movie stakes that you've seen in a dozen other spy movies, but if that's the kind of stuff you like, you'll most likely have fun with it. I certainly did. And number one is Twisters. I have no nostalgia for the original Twister. The first time I watched it was a few days before seeing this. The first Twister was just okay, nothing special. That's pretty much how I feel about this one. I do think it is slightly better than the original because it is more intense, and I think the characters in this one are better. But this wasn't a movie that I loved. I feel like it's trying a bit too hard to appeal to a new generation by having a younger cast and by having one of the main characters be this influencer obsessed with online clout. But beat the original. Feels like more like a remake rather than a true sequel. It's really my type of movie. I like my disaster movies to be schlocky. These movies are just a bit too serious. Basically, if you like the original, you'll probably like this one. But if not, this one won't do much for you either. That being said, even though this was kind of a dull month for movies, it's still the best movie I saw this month, even if I didn't think it was that great. So it comes in at number one. Good sure you July movies. You're welcome to put Deadpool Wolverine in your ranking if you want to. It's your ranking. See you next time.